I'm very excited. Episode 4, can't beat it. Feeney talks with friends. I'm here with a great friend. I got the shirt. Oh, first, let's thank Direct Line Media. Dave from Direct Line Media, thanks for having us. This is an amazing place and a great opportunity. I just love talking with friends. And again, great friend here. Wendy, how you doing?
I'm well, thank you.
Wendy is mom, professor, makerspace extraordinaire, mom of 3 boys too, so.
It's hardcore.
That's real. My sister-in-law.
Boy moms are special people.
Boy moms. Yeah, I relate because my sister-in-law has 3 boys. You know them.
Boy mom, yeah.
So 3 boys.
Yeah.
Anything you want to talk about that?
3 boys?
Yeah, let's go.
I wouldn't trade it for 100 years. Definitely not a bow making mom, even though I was sent to make a bow today.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Made a great bow, too.
Yeah, my 3 boys, so high school senior. We'll see how that year goes. High school freshman. So stepping into a school he's never been in before, so that'll be interesting. No orientation this year, just a virtual tour of what the building looks like. So I can only imagine what that first day will be. And then
big school, too.
Big school. And a kid who likes to know what's happening. So we'll see. And then my Dylan, my 5th grade, Feeney Dylan.
Yeah, that's how we started this connection. I was Dylan's 3rd grade teacher, and Dylan right away was like, he stood out. He made a ticket holder for me to store my tickets. I had 21 students.
He's unorganized. He needs something to put these tickets.
Each kid gets a ticket. And Dylan created these little cabinets, 21 cabinets for each student to store their ticket. And it was amazing. And it was built with cardboard and it was numbered and labeled. And that was my first makerspace ever action. So, and here we are. We're still doing the makerspace.
We are.
And, very creative makerspace. Again, I want to thank you. We just talked, episode 3, we talked with Rob. Rob was the live entertainment at Makerspace.
What was the name of their band? What was Rob's band?
Sunday Vinyl.
Okay, very good. I have to remember that.
He said something hilarious that I don't know if you saw, but he said that behind the gazebo, a man fell out of the wheelchair.
No.
Do you remember any of this?
Oh, God, no. Did anybody see him?
I guess the drummer stopped and picked up, because Rob's
completely oblivious.
Look, and he goes, "Where's my drummer?" Oh, he's picking up someone to put him back in the wheelchair. I told Rob,
to get up the curb or something. I don't even remember a wheelchair there.
I said it was the rock music. I thought the guy was jamming out too much.
Oh, it just rolled out. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I missed that whole thing. That whole day was a blur. It's
No, it was last year, October 6th, and we were down at the Elmwood Community Center.
Yep.
I mean, how long did we collect cardboard for?
For a real long time. Months, it seemed like. Well, maybe August, September. So a couple months. I think it started in August.
You want to talk about your garage?
Huh?
How about your garage?
My garage, pretty hideous. I ended up towards the end. We started to panic that there wouldn't be enough cardboard, so I was hitting up the refrigerator store, or the Mark's Appliance, and pulling boxes out of his dumpster daily and filling the garage. We couldn't walk. We could hardly lift the door. It was a lot of cardboard. Well worth it.
Did you connect with Mark at Mark's Appliance or someone else?
Yes, with Mark. Yep.
All right, shout out to Mark's Appliance. Thank you for that.
Yep, thank you for
We had refrigerator cases full of cardboard stacked, and they weighed about 100 pounds each.
Yes.
We rented a U-Haul to get the garage, to empty your garage of the 1,000 pounds of cardboard to display it or set it up around the grass of Elmwood Senior Center, and then just let the kids build.
It was beautiful.
And
paint and cut and do whatever they wanted to do with the cardboard that they wouldn't be allowed to do with at home. So it was very cool. Very cool. And the cardboard, we had originally thought, we'll just, we'll put it in the van, we'll just drop it off, little by little that morning. But then once you look in the garage and you realize, like, there's no moving, it was very lucky you even found a U-Haul at the 9th hour to even fill with cardboard, because that would have been a big problem. We never would have gotten the cardboard there. That was a detail that was forgotten.
Stacked from the door to the back.
And then the best part was the cardboard all being dropped off, crack of dawn, before the sun rises, and then the sun does rise, and dogs begin training in the fields right next to our cardboard, and the thought that they're peeing all over our cardboard hours before all these children are supposed to show up. Oh my God.
Yep, small detail that we forgot to tell the community center. Let's not have the dog training.
No dog training.
But it worked out.
Funny. What are the chances?
Do you want to talk about the benefits of Makerspace?
Sure. And many people have zero idea what I'm talking about when I even say Makerspace, but or they say, oh, it's just a craft, and it's not a craft. It's I see it as an opportunity for children to make things, to build, to use tools that they aren't typically allowed to use, or to problem solve in ways where things can't go wrong. I mean, things can work out in ways that they don't think, but it gives them an opportunity to problem solve. And I started it, so I ran it through the Elmo Community Center before Dylan was in your class, and then which was great. And I ran it on Wednesdays and Fridays and had different groups of children. All of them would come in and be so shocked that they were allowed to use scissors and allowed to use a glue gun, and like all of that broke my heart, because all children should be able to be using those things whenever. So it was really great to start with that small little group. The whole reason I started that with that little group was I was going into schools for my job, and classroom after classroom, it was teacher, not child, and those poor things were crumbling. So I needed something to satisfy, I guess, my own guilt that these poor children weren't able to express themselves. And it's turning out the way that I thought that it would. Your children are jumping on it. Once they get the idea that it's okay, and I'm not going to say no to them, then they build some pretty awesome things. Yeah. I think the children who come in and haven't had opportunities to use tools, or haven't had opportunities to play out building something that they had in their mind, are missing out on a risk that they need for the rest of their lives.
And I love how it started off, what are you making? I don't know. And then it evolves to, the pinball machine.
Yeah.
We've seen skee ball.
Yeah. Even this week, or this summer, when we've been doing it, you can see, you can't deny child development. You can't deny how children learn. It's just right there in front of you. And with a cabin full of kids, you'll see the kids who are just gluing and stacking. No other purpose. They just want to glue and they want to stack. And that's fine. That's where they are developmentally. You kind of have to do that before you can come up with an idea. It's steps in process. And so many people see, a group of fifth graders gluing and stacking as a mess and trouble. And it's not. It's just that they haven't had any opportunity to do that. So you got to get that out of the way before you come up with your great idea that you're going to build.
It's the experimental phase.
Yeah. Regardless of your age. If you've never used the tool, you've never used the tool. So you can't assume that they're going to know, they're going to look a certain way using it, regardless of their age.
Well, Wendy's talking about High Meadow Day Camp, where I work, and Wendy has been running our Makerspace cabin every other week, and it is an absolute hit, and the campers love it. I can't thank High Meadow Day Camp enough. They also sponsor and support Friends of Feeney for our parades. They're on the back of the shirt. I'm at Day Camp. It's a great place, and funny, someone there was like, what's makerspace? What's that? Kids playing with trash? Let's get the big blocks, the big blue blocks that we see at the dentist's office and the doctors.
15 grand later.
And then the kids touch them and they get dirty and they could only plug them one way. And someone, the person that said it was like, wow, makerspace is a hit. So thank you so much for doing it.
Open-ended. Kids don't, if there was a study about playgrounds a while ago, and they talked about the playgrounds you see in every schoolyard. Even if it has the tunnels and the slides and it looks so cool, children will spend maybe 15, 20 minutes. They'll figure out how everything works, and then they're done. Like it's a closed-ended object. And then they start doing their own thing. So then they're climbing on the tunnels, and they're running up the slides, and adults are screaming at them. But, I mean, it's a closed-ended piece of equipment, whereas makerspace isn't. So if you want to use your cardboard to build, I don't even know what you want to build, a giant robotic hand, then rock on. And that's what children need. They don't need things that only take them so far, and then somebody tells them they're doing it wrong and they have to go back. There's too much of that.
Yeah, my daughters were building a whole house set.
Beautiful houses.
Bunk
You got to pack
beds,
those away.
Staircase, bunk beds, roof.
Porcelain sink.
Oh yeah.
Amazing.
Oh yeah, detailed too. Blankets for the beds. And then
a closet with hooks, and they hung little scarves and all their.
Pretty
Gorgeous.
good, pretty creative.
Gorgeous.
And then they set up a tent outside that had an outhouse, which they had to show me and get the giggles going.
Adorable little roll of toilet. I show everybody. Did you see the toilet paper?
Yeah.
So
they made sure to point that out.
Yeah.
No, I love the creating that is going on there and makerspace. I mean, if makerspace was around when I was a kid, who knows? I could be working for NASA.
Stop it.
I could be an astronaut.
Stop it.
Here I am, second grade teacher.
But creating.
But
creative person.
And letting.
Right? So not being held back.
Yeah.
Too many are held back, and then they just stop and give up. Like, that's the end of that.
That was great. You volunteered in our class when Dylan was in the class every other Friday, or maybe near the end of the school year, and we had the makerspace corner, which was a big pile of cardboard, and then the kids built games for the school fair. And I don't know if you noticed or saw how the bounce house and the putt and
not so cool.
But then makerspace area was the hit.
Yeah.
And I couldn't have been more proud and thankful. It was huge. The kids were playing, again, skee ball. We had games that our students had made. We had a claw machine. We had pinball. We had skee ball. But then we also had materials out for other kids to build.
Yes.
And it was a hit.
And that was the greatest, because that's where I stood. We had, what is it called? Long strip.
Power surge?
Power surge. So we had 2 power surges, and every plug had another glue gun in it. And I just put them there. And all on, all hot, glue just oozing. And then I just stood back and watched as children would come up, and then a parent would pull them away. And I'm like, no. And the children would come up. Like, the littlest ones are gluing. And I'm like, they're fine. Just don't touch the tip. I mean, as long as you know how to use it, then... I mean, I'll burn myself as a grown adult. It's not.
And the worst that happens, you get a little burn.
Yeah. But they'll remember that. So, I don't know. Those are our problem solvers, and we need problem solvers. And
then collaborating, because sometimes, like you said, there's only 1 or 2 scissors or the cardboard saw, so they have to share, take turns. I had kids that were teaming up to make the pinball.
Yeah.
They made the soccer game.
Yes.
That was a fun one,
Foosball.
too.
Yep.
Foosball.
Yep. And they had to think about it. So it's not just, let me grab this and do it without any thought. They had their journals. They had to think out that process. They're using their executive functioning. This is how I'm going to plan. This is how I'm going to do it. And then after, this is what went wrong. This is what went right. To modify, those are all life skills. Oh. And if you could teach those life skills by playing with cardboard and glue guns, then, that's a win.
That was going to go in the trash and be recycled anyway.
Yes.
No, even the foosball had lights.
Yes, everything.
We got the
had
little
lights.
dollar lights.
I know. I didn't bring
Kids
those
were
to
doing
camp
currents
this year.
and it was great.
They love the lights, the paper circuits. This, we'll see, fingers crossed, but I'm supposed to be back at the community center in September. And because it's smaller groups, a little more contained, I'll bring the circuits and we'll make things light up.
Okay.
'Cause
Well,
they
make
love
sure,
that.
please ask if we can do a social distancing global cardboard challenge
I know.
in October.
I know.
Because I felt like this year was going to be even bigger.
I know. Because lessons learned, right?
We had Pepe's Pizza donated pizza, Elmwood Bakery donated food, chicken nuggets and fries.
Beachland Tavern donated chicken tenders.
What did I say? Elmwood?
Elmwood
Oops.
Pastry. Yeah, that's all right.
Elmwood Pastry.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Shout out to
They
Beachland
donated
Tavern
some.
with the chicken nuggets and fries. Yeah, Elmwood
Yeah.
doesn't do that. That's
Yeah.
right.
They
Elm-
did let us hang their posters, though, so they were a win.
They
I
were-
know. I hope it's not just our little cardboard day. It's an international day of play, the first Saturday in October, and I've been watching flutters of emails and as other people are trying to figure out what to do.
They're
'Cause
debating
you don't
it?
want to just, get rid of the day of play. Children need it, but we have to be safe. So I've kind of been watching to see what other places are doing and planning, because it would be sad to.
I was thinking like
to
how
miss.
Elmwood Community Center is huge grass.
Huge,
If we
huge.
spray painted squares,
Yeah, like at
each
camp
kid
where they
stays in
did.
their square.
Yeah, or
Here's
your
your
family. Like,
pile
this is
of-
your clan.
Yeah, here's your pile of duct tape and cardboard. But then there's like the sharing of the tools we'd have to concerned.
I know. And we can't say bring your own because nobody will bring a tool. But it's something to think about. Even if it was, I don't know. I'm still thinking. It's too big a day to just let go by.
And then Elmwood Makerspace. I don't know if you noticed. This is our shirt that we wore that day.
No.
Elmwood Makers. Elmwood
Tie-dyed
Makers.
mine.
I know.
Some
Check that one
color,
out.
huh?
Hers is way more. That one pops. But Elmwood Makers also has a Facebook page, Instagram, and Twitter. So check it out. You should definitely look into it. You should definitely let your child play with cardboard, tape, and explore.
And don't direct them. Just stand back. And if it's too much anxiety, leave the room. It'll be all right.
Yeah, don't give suggestions or I think you should make this or what.
No.
Just let them do it. And when they say, I don't know, just let them
So
keep
that's all
building.
right. And some kids come in and this summer they'll come in and I don't know what to make. I don't know. I said, well, just start picking things up. Go, put your hands through the buttons. Put your hands through the cardboard. Grab some tape. See,
Yeah,
put your
even
hand
today
in the
you had
pom-pom bucket.
A pile of nuts and bolts.
Yes. My brother is an electrician and he does electrical work for big companies. And whenever they do a project, so they order their however much millions of dollars it takes to re-light bulb Etna, and then all the leftover parts that's it. They just leave them, then they move on to the next site and order more. And it blows my mind. So
Are you going to get your brother in trouble with saying this on the
I
air?
think so. I didn't say who my brother is or where he works.
She doesn't know.
We don't have the same last name. But to use the wire. So some kids were making lassos and things with the wire, which is not so safe. So that's hazard versus risk. So I step in when there's hazard. I don't step in when there's risk. But then the other kids were taking them and they made the most beautiful butterflies or flowers, just molding the wire. Coolest.
Yeah.
Who's going to have that opportunity?
No, I love the fact
In third grade or
when
second
I walk
grade.
by your makerspace, one day they're hammering a nail and
Yeah.
doing string art. The next day they're sewing.
Yeah.
The next day they're making buttons.
Yeah.
It's
So many
the
of 'em. I
endless
can't-
opportunities.
Yeah, just do it. And so many of them, I can't touch a needle like that.
Yeah.
I can't sew, I can't touch a needle. I'm like, oh no, you can touch a needle.
What inspired you to get into makerspace, or who inspired you?
I think it was just over years of being in classrooms. So once I stepped out of the classroom and then I started going in a support role, as the years go by, the classrooms just became more and more directive and less
Too much teacher talk.
And I'd be called into a school because there are behavior problems in the classroom and we need suggestion. And, I'll spend a few hours in your classroom and I'll say, you need to calm down because it's you creating this scene. There's your children, if you look at them, you can see that they need a break, like from your voice and from your direction.
Yeah.
And once you do that and you step back and you realize that you don't have to be in control, like the teacher doesn't have to be the teacher, then so many things calm down in a classroom.
No, that's why I agree with you 100%. Kids need hands-on activity, collaboration, group work.
And they need to feel like it comes from them. That doesn't mean that a teacher doesn't use their psychology background to decide what goes into the classroom or make those decisions, but if children feel as though they're in control and they're making those decisions, then that builds their confidence and it calms them down.
Yeah. And then they're busy and not bored because I could barely sit for, I would say 25 minutes.
That's it.
You can't expect a child to sit for that.
No.
So
so when Dylan was, I think it was first grade, I would pick him up and we would leave the parking lot and he would be in circles and circles and circles and circles, like as we're walking to the car, on the curb, off the car, on the curb, off the, like just moving. And, I didn't stop him. If you want to run circles around me while we walk to the car, whatever. Like clearly your body is telling you need to be doing that. And it's not a rip. It's not a hazard. Somebody at some point, crossing guard or someone, said something about, man, he's active, or on and off. And he said, it takes so much to, how did he word it? It was something that, like, shook me. It was, I try so hard all day long to keep it in. Like, stay still, pay attention, stay focused, that once I get outside, I have to. More power to you then. Like, keep running.
Yeah.
That's fine by me. Kids need that. They can't take in, and just like adults, like as I'm sure as a teacher you've sat in PD. I've sat in PD. You can only sit so long before your mind is trailing, or kids are the same way, and we're silly if we think that they're not.
Yeah. Now, you want to get into your job? Professor or training teachers or?
Yes. So I worked as a preschool teacher originally with the youngest. I wanted as young as I can go, just because I knew that developmentally those are the critical years to get the brain where you want it to be when they're older, which I loved. And then I stepped out of that role after having Owen, pregnant with Gavin, because it really was a 24-hour job. At that point, I had become a director in a early learning program, and it was a lot. I loved it, but it was 24-hour, 4 a.m., I have a headache, I'm not coming to work. It was a lot. And so I stepped into, someone at that point had called me from Capital, which is the college downtown Hartford, and said they needed someone to teach a class. Would I be willing to teach the class? So I said, sure. I had never taught a class. I had never seen myself teaching adults. That just wasn't my jam. But they were great. It was a great group. And
so you went from the youngest of the young to college?
To college.
No in between?
No in between.
Wow.
I went from, I'm taller than you, to they're all taller than me, but it's fine. That's like the story of my life. But yeah, and so from there I thought, well, when I'm in my own classroom, I can, positively affect the lives of this group. but and then next year's group, but not more than that. So I thought, well, if I go into teaching and I have a class full of students who want to go into teaching, then I can affect a few more who could then go out and affect a few more. And that was kind of my mind thinking. I did that part-time. I did one, maybe 2 semesters, or 1 or 2 classes a semester. You can only teach up to 2. I would teach at Goodwin, where I know you taught. A few semesters helping my girl out. And then I was at CREC for the last 15 years. So CREC is in Hartford. They manage and run all the magnet schools throughout this part of the state. And in that role, I was the facilitator, coach, trainer. So that was the organization that sent me into schools to work with principals or work with teachers.
And you're still doing that?
I do that on the side hustle. So that work all comes out of the Office of Early Childhood.
Gotcha.
So this past January, I left CREC as an official employee and started at Tunxis as a full-time faculty.
Gotcha.
So I teach 5 classes there. And then the Office of Early Childhood, when there's work that is really interesting, then I tap into that, those opportunities also. So that's the coaching because I want to stay in the classrooms. You can't, I had an opportunity to apply for full-time faculty like a handful, maybe 6 years ago, but the thought of removing myself from classrooms, which is the real life, which is what students in school need to hear about. Mm-hmm. I didn't think I think that would have made me less of a teacher to not be in those classrooms.
I like how you're teaching teachers to spread it. I like that analogy, the math there, but where you just have that group.
So that's my evil plan.
And then, you brought up the Goodwin thing. Yeah, I taught 2 semesters, educational leadership for early childhood.
Yes.
I was an adjunct professor at Goodwin College.
Yes.
And again, teaching adults was interesting.
Interesting. It's different.
They were daycare providers and pre-K teachers.
Yeah.
It was fun.
And for that course, so in order to work in childcare at a admin level, you have to have those leadership courses and those credits. So, that's where those classes came from.
And then speaking of all this education, can you think of a teacher that was very important to you and special? Or a school or moment?
There are little moments where I remember, but there wasn't one particular person. There were little things that I remember about adults that I thought, I like that. And that's a characteristic I want in myself. I had a high school teacher who called me unteachable and removed me from the class. So I always remember that too. The children who are, or even my students in my classes, the ones who are the struggling ones, the ones in the back, the ones who will make really quick eye contact with me and then quickly look down. Those are the ones I gravitate towards because I feel like the ones in the front row taking notes are fine.
Yeah, they're good. Yep, I agree with you there.
And I feel like that teacher who deemed me unteachable.
Did that motivate you, or
that pissed me off?
Right?
Yeah. I get motivated in weird ways,
yep.
And that was enough to go, really? Okay, I'll continue on. So.
Yeah. 6th grade, I had a teacher. And imagine a 6th grade, Waterbury, Connecticut. They had the A group, the B group, the C group, and the D group. That's how they were grouped.
And you know what group is what.
I mean, you're the A group.
Yeah.
I was in the A group.
Yeah.
The first week of school, I missed a homework assignment. The teacher calls me up in the front of the room and was like, "You see, you missed homework." And I was like embarrassed, and she's like, "You're going to the B group."
Nah.
And it was like crushing to me. And
public
I know
shaming.
who she is,
Public
and I'll remember her. And she was
forever.
Yeah. I went on to becoming a teacher, and she was like a principal, and I gave her dirty look. It was
right,
not
you
a
did.
good.
Yeah.
It was not a good. So that motivated me to like.
But you know what's
never
sad?
to be like her.
Exactly. And I think that's what I got. Is that spiteful? Maybe.
Spiteful.
But
in a good way.
But in a good way, because I'm sticking up then for the kids. But what's sad is she'll never know. Like, she'll never realize that it was that moment that even affected it. Because you were probably the first of many to drop to the B group. Or the D group.
Or imagine just being in the C group. Or like, I'm in the D group.
You're
Look
like,
at these guys in the A group.
I thought I was doing well.
So ridiculous. I could see like they used to do like maybe gold, red, blue teams.
Yeah,
I get
something.
that, but straight up A group.
You're the 1, 2, 3, and 4. No.
I thought mentioning and speaking of makerspace, you were going to mention because you had these really awesome canned airplanes.
Oh, my grandfather.
Yes, I thought you were going to
Yes.
mention him because those were
Yes.
amazing soda cans
Yeah.
that were cut and bent to look like an actual airplane.
Yeah, my
So-
papa. So the original maker, and he made, he would get, I want to say it's like 14 or 15 cans. He'd either he'd scoop them up as we're drinking them, or he'd go down to Crazy Bruce's and say, I need 15 of this can. And he would sit with his X-Acto knife and cut it and fit it in. I mean, there's no glue. It's just cut and fit like the original maker.
Yeah, that's not your guy. That's not your inspiration.
No, I think that's in my blood. So that's my grandfather, and then my mother is sewer, has been making things since I don't remember her any other way. So that's his daughter, and then I think
It's in the genes.
genetic.
It's in the blood. No, that plane was amazing. And now that you say that, it was all the same brand of can.
So we would sit, if there was a party or something, he'd come over. Where'd you get that can? How many more of that are there? I'm like, oh, we only have a 6-pack. Go get more. Where's the brewery? Like, how do I get that? It was very cool.
I also want to shout out my papa. Papa, we called him Papa. He would get milk gallons, and you know the red ring that you would rip off the red ring?
Yeah.
He would collect all the red rings. I think he welded it to a circle, and he would make circles, and he would chain his Christmas tree
Oh, how
with the
cool.
red.
Maker.
He was the maker.
Yeah, see?
That's my papa. That's my mom's dad.
See? And your mom's a maker.
She's a maker.
She is.
So Papa, the milk.
See, it's
I
genetic.
think it did something else too, but that now you said it reminded me. Maybe it was along the windows. I mean, it was whatever. I don't know how much milk he drank or where did he get it from, but no, being creative, reuse, recycle.
That's it. Yep.
I like it.
Nope. Yeah.
No.
We have those planes all over the house. There's one outside in the garden, and then I really need to get the ones that are in the basement hung so they at least spin. But yeah, he would put them, so in his garage, he would have like poles, I guess, that would go across the top of the garage, and then all these planes would be hanging in there. And he would sell them, or he would give them away, or he loved his planes.
Oh, those
very
were
much.
awesome. Did he make anything else?
He would make everything. So there's a, he would make lamps like out of an upside down garbage can, not like the wire garbage can, but a plastic one, and he would drill holes in it. So the whole thing was just circles of holes. And then he would put little, like the Christmas lights, the colored Christmas lights. So he put all of those in all of the holes, and the wires must have been on the inside. And then he would hang it, so it almost looked like a,
Disco ball? Maybe?
well, kinda,
Maybe?
yeah, like a disco
Chandelier?
ball. Like a
Disco ball?
chandelier.
Okay.
What are the chandeliers the lights that are glass? I can't believe I've lost the word, because I love them. But anyway.
Cool.
Yeah, he makes lots of things. Very cool.
No, it's all about letting the kids explore and expand their mind and create and build.
And then feel good about themselves for doing it.
Yeah.
And feel like, hey, I built that, and that went really well, so now I can build something else, and then build something else. And
And there's a lot of pride, like you said.
yeah. And that's what they need.
And
to
what do you
get through
think
all the
about
other
at
years.
pickup when the parents, there's a couple types of parents. There's some parents like, what the heck are you bringing to my car?
And they're like, no, I don't think so. Just leave it
Throw
right
it in
there.
the trunk, or don't even put that in my car. And then there are some are like, what'd you build? Tell me about
Those
it.
are my people.
Right? Like
Yeah.
be the parent that
Yeah.
asks.
Like,
What
just
did you
keep
build?
it in.
Tell me
Yeah.
what inspired you. What made you do it?
Yeah.
Tell me more.
Yeah, that's it. Just ask them pose one thought, and then they're gonna talk the whole ride home. You don't have to engage anymore. But don't drop it in the
I saw this
parking
kid.
lot.
He just really had like a huge box,
Yeah.
and it was not even really done. It was like a couple green things on it, but it was a spaceship that was a time machine and a
Yes.
portal,
Yeah.
and Mom was all about it.
Yeah. He had a whole story.
And I felt that kid was a good kid, and
Yeah.
maybe is that the reason why that kid's a good kid? Cause
Yeah. Well, because he has those opportunities to feel good about himself,
Yeah.
right? So the child, there were a couple real big things that left today, and I watched them drag them off, and I think, I hope you're bringing that to a car where someone's gonna care that it's there.
Yeah.
Just because in one experience of that parent saying, I just can't, like, throw that in the
That's
trash.
the B group. A group's the B group experience.
No! Like, one time
don't
is
want
not gonna totally, as long as there are other people out there who are recognizing what they're doing, but time after time, that kid's just gonna sit there. And I always say to my students, if you keep doing everything for them, then they're gonna grow up to be third graders who can't sharpen a pencil,
Yeah.
who like are crying. And the third grade teacher can't have time for that. You have to let them sharpen the pencil. You have to, like, at 2, 3 years old, give them it's all right. Like,
Yeah.
it's a risk. It's not a hazard.
I like
Like
that.
a knife is a
I've never heard
hazard.
that. You say that before. Risk and hazard. I like it.
Different. People
Be-
blend them, though. They see it as the same. Like, it's just another word. But it's not. Like, we need risk in order to be successful people. Hazard could be
Yeah.
dangerous. We don't need that.
All right. Speaking of 3 boys, my nephew makes a mask with,
Yes.
I don't know what these spikes were.
Oh.
Is that risk or
Your
hazard?
nephew's in that group?
Yeah.
Well, it was hazard originally because when I turned around, those spikes were nails.
Oh.
And I said, okay, we can't do the nails. That's a hazard. We're going to pop those nails out, and I'll find you something else to use instead. Or what can we use instead? So they went to the
Some sort of stick.
stick. It was like a shish kebab stick. There were 5 or 6 boys in there who
he
made
loved
those
it.
masks
He's
with
like-
the spikes coming out. And I don't know which one was
He's
your
like
nephew. but
300.
The kid turned around, the first one, and he's like, "Look at my mask!" Shoo. And I was like, "Nails!" I'm like, "Oh, it's a great mask." But I go, "Where'd you get those nails?" And I thought maybe because we had been hammering and we had been using wood, so I thought maybe there were just a couple random nails that had fallen in the dirt, and he found them and thought, "This is awesome! I'm gonna stick them through." And then when I saw like 5 more masks come up to me with these nails, I realized that they had found a jar of them in my car. So, which we
Nice.
were using for the woodworking, which is fine. I do let them take things from the back of the car, but I
was
saw that as
Spartan 300.
I had to take. That was funny.
No,
that
it's
was yesterday. Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
the
we did the shish kebab sticks instead.
That's my godson too. Shout out to my godson, Joe
The
Spartan.
nail could hurt. The popsicle stick, the shish kebab will prick, but it's not a big deal. But yeah.
And that's funny. And then back to like 3 boys, and I have 2 girls, and they read and they create and they draw, and then over there.
Rumble and roll and play basketball games in the pool that I
Yeah.
can't even, I just have to step
Games
away.
to 45.
Uh-huh.
I was like, did you really play? They've like, yeah, the game started at 8 and it ended at 10:30.
10:30.
So you're in the pool for 2.5 hours
Yeah.
playing a game.
Oh yeah, and I can hear them through the house. I can
And there's only
tell
one
when
rule.
things are scored.
No goaltending. So you can't
is that the only
stand
rule?
over, like the goaltending is like when you reach
Oh,
your
yeah, yeah,
hand
yeah.
over the goal and block
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah. No doing that.
But you could bang each other to the side of the
And they
pool,
do.
try to drown each other.
And they do it in the dark.
And Dylan had like cuts on his nose.
I know.
I was like, did your cat get you? He goes, no.
No.
Pool ball.
And I always felt bad, my poor Dylan, because Owen never had, people attacking him at the pool in fifth grade.
He's going to be the toughest one.
He had a very different life. Dylan
gonna-
lived through high school brothers, high school friends, just a very loud house, always full of boys, always. Oh, well. So whenever he has friends and they're, I can tell, or I have to ask Dylan, is your friend the oldest? Are they the? Because there's
Where do
definitely
they fall in
a
the rank
difference
structure of their
between-
house?
There's a difference between first child, third child, and first child, third child play together. Third child seems really rough, but third
Yeah, I
child
hope I don't mess this
has
up.
lived a different life.
First child eats dirt. You're like, oh, we got to take him to the doctor.
Yeah.
Third child, second child eats dirt. You like wipe it out of his face
Yeah.
with soap. You're like, well, come on.
Yeah.
Third child eats dirt. You're like, that's
Get over
lunch.
it. Yeah.
It's
move
lunch.
on. Yeah. Protein. It's true.
That's how that worked. I use that too. My nephew, they're gonna be tough kids.
Yeah.
It's like the middle guy's got to beat up the younger and the older. The older guy got to be big bro.
Yeah.
The little guy's got two big bros. So it's a whole.
And it's not even, I tell when I'm in classrooms with with teachers who have younger children, or they have classrooms that are mostly boys, and they're trying to do their like girl directive plans. Yeah. Boys, they engage differently, they interact differently.
Yeah.
Your space has to be different, and if it's not your comfort level, it's, I say too bad, because it's not your choice, right? It's their choice. So, yeah.
That goes in
Special place. For the boys.
differentiation.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah. You can't
Engage.
just
Connect.
You can't just think last year's room was perfect, so I'm gonna do everything the same, because you're in for a.
And then I also want to thank you. You've also been very supportive. You made that Makerspace event, and I can't thank you enough. So I want to thank you on camera. And I want to also thank you for your support. Even prior to the Makerspace, you opened up your house to have people prepare and make things for our parade.
Yes.
We had students and family come down there.
We had
and you
random people there.
Random people that were there. Yeah. Became friends.
Yeah.
So I can't thank you. I made a Spartan helmet, which I'm very proud of. I still have, and it has like the Mohawk, the Trojan Spartan helmet.
I should find
USC.
a picture, because they look at all the pictures in the cabin and they're like, oh, how do I make this one? How do I make this one? And I said, that one right there. You go ask Feeney, because he has that one. He made that one himself.
But
No,
again,
they
thank
don't
you so
believe
much.
it.
And then like the support with all the fundraisers, helping purchase the gear and the socks and the hoodies, and I can't thank you enough.
No,
and you are definitely a
my
friend of Feeney.
pleasure.
And I was honored to teach your kid Dylan, Big D.
It was a
Call him
good year
Big D.
for Big D. He still quotes third grade happenings.
And it opened my eyes to Makerspace, and I would like to continue that. So, no, parents like that, like West Hartford, you're a West Hartford parent. West Hartford parents are great. I'm a West Hartford parent of a student and also a teacher. I live and work in this community. I love the community. We have parents like Wendy that volunteer their time and open up the classroom to a whole new learning experience and giving them Makerspace.
Or for you being brave enough to allow the classroom to be open, or to give away some of that control, because that
was tough.
that would not be. Oh, I know.
You already know my classroom's messy, but then to add Makerspace to it, it looked like a recycling center.
There were a couple times you're like, all right, this is gonna come together. It's gonna come together, right? Like, it's gonna be fine.
But that it all came together at that school fair, and it was amazing to see. That was the hottest table of the event. The school fair, like you said, plugged in glue sticks. So
so funny watching kids use a glue gun for the first time, or adults.
Do you have any connections, or you want to share anything about Friends of Feeney, or?
I mean, I think I hadn't heard of Friends of Feeney until Dylan was in your class, and the name Friends of Feeney comes like screaming through when you have a student in your room. So I think that was our first connection to it. But anything that is built from supporting children at the heart, I'm going to be there for that 100%. And that's what Friends of Feeney is. I mean, it's pulling together and supporting those in need in any way that I can help that, especially if it has to do with children. Not that, I'm not going to help an adult, but any way that there are connections that can be made to help children in any way, I'll be there to support that. So.
Well, thank you so much. And I know you were a little nervous coming in, but you killed it. You were awesome.
No. All these cameras, not my jam, but I could teach in front of a room. Give me 100 students, but throw a camera and a mic.
No, I always like talking in front of children more than adults. But
see? Yeah.
here we are.
Here we are.
And I can't thank you enough for coming and sharing
Yeah,
about
thank you.
Makerspace. Look up the Elmwood Makers. Again, Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Elmwood Makers.
And then look, if you're in West Hartford, even if you're not in West Hartford, it's in, they put the leisure services catalog is out. It went out Monday.
Yep, the West Hartford Leisure Program.
Yep, so it's in
It
there.
should be at Elmwood Community Center,
And Fridays, 4 to 6.
4 to 6.
Yep.
And even if you don't, that I highly encourage and go, but even if you would like to just give your kids some cardboard and
Please.
duct tape,
And just walk out of the room. They'll be all right.
build their brains, and they're just...
Or put them in the yard, like if that makes you feel more comfortable with the duct tape and the cardboard, but just let them do it.
All right, again, I'd like to thank Wendy from Elmwood Makers and Dave from Direct Line Media. This is episode 4. Stay tuned for 5 and 6. I can't thank you enough.